Hey, my fellow student! The topic that I'm going to present now is all about different types of media and information sources. So now, let us define first what is media. Media is a news or news industry that forms of mass media focused on delivering news to the general public or a target public. These include print media such as newspapers, news magazine, broadcast news, radio, and television. And since we are now in modern or millennials period, we have also media that comes in many different formats. And the basic example of these are books, movies, video games, music, and cell phones. Each type of media involves both content and also a device or objects through which that content is delivered. So in general, media is a communication, whether written, broadcast, or spoken, that reaches a large audience. An information source is a person, thing, or place from which information comes, arises, or is obtained. That source might then inform a person about something or provide knowledge about it. Information sources are divided into separate, distinct categories: the primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. Primary sources are documents, images, or artifacts that provide first-hand testimony or direct evidence concerning a historical topic under research and investigation. Primary sources are original documents created or experienced contemporaneously with the event being researched. Primary sources enable researchers to get as close as possible to what actually happened during a historical event or time period. And these are the examples of primary sources: autobiographies, correspondence, email or letters, descriptions of travel, diaries, eyewitnesses, oral histories, literary works, interviews, personal narratives, first-hand newspaper and magazine accounts of events, legal cases, treaties, statistics, surveys, opinion polls, scientific data, transcripts, journal articles, records of organizations and government agencies, original works of literature, art, or music, cartoons, postcards, and posters. A secondary source is a work that interprets or analyzes a historical event or period after the event has occurred, and generally speaking with the use of primary sources. The same document or other piece of evidence may be a primary source in one investigation and secondary in another. The search for primary sources does not, therefore, automatically include or exclude any format of research materials or type of records, documents, or publications. These are the example of secondary sources: biographies, encyclopedias, dictionaries, handbooks, textbooks and monographs on a topic, literary criticism and interpretation, history and historical criticism, political analysis, reviews of law and legislation, essays on morals and ethics, analysis of social policy, study and teaching material, articles such as literature reviews, commentaries, research articles in all subject disciplines, criticism of works of literature, art, and music. Tertiary sources generally provide an overview or summary of a topic and may contain both primary and secondary sources. The information is displayed as entirely factual and does not include analysis or critique. Some tertiary sources are not to be used for academic research, unless they can also be used as secondary sources or to find other sources. And these are the example of tertiary sources: chronologies, classifications, dictionaries, encyclopedias, directories, guidebooks and manuals, population registers, statistics, factbooks, abstracts, indexes, bibliographies, manuals, or guidebooks. Difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary sources of information. Primary sources of information are original manuscripts, documents, or records used in preparing a published or unpublished work. For example, an article in a peer-reviewed journal that discusses the development of a new vaccine for the prevention of HIV infection will be considered a primary source. Secondary sources are published or unpublished works that rely on primary source. A commentary by a magazine reporter based on the peer-reviewed journal article on the newly invented vaccine for HIV prevention would be a secondary source. Tertiary sources are published or unpublished works that are based on secondary sources. Tertiary sources are indexed to primary sources. Science citations indexed will be considered as tertiary sources.